Howdy hey! This is my speed paint of Hermes and Calypso from Greek mythology. Epic the Musical is where I'm taking them from as the background music, and it's inspired by a series of books written by Homer called The Odyssey. It's pretty famous. Hermes has been and always will be one of my favorite Greek gods, and the level of sass he has in the animatics of his songs is just too iconic not to do a rendition of him on my own. Now, bear with me, I am using just an iPhone on my finger, so this didn't come out exactly how I wanted, but this little doodle should give a rough idea of how I imagine him. In the beginning, I did struggle with the first pose, so I cheated and used a pose reference, and I lightly traced to get an idea of how the legs should look, and then edited them later to figure out how I wanted them to fit with the drawing. Now, I did do a couple sketches of my own to figure out how I wanted this base idea to come off as, and up in the top left corner is the main idea I had for him. So I knew that I wanted to have a full body and include his shoes because, he's the messenger god and he has to have his wings. So I only really had a rough idea of how I wanted him to look. I kind of just went into this blind and freehanded it. And I messed up on the helmet so many times. Speaking of the helmet, the way that I had his eyes having a shadow from his hair and his helmet is an idea that I took from this other animatic that I saw, and I really liked it because it made him more mysterious, almost. So I was originally just going to have him outlined in black and give him flat colors, but then I decided that he's too amazing for that, and he deserves to have shading, so that's what I'm doing here. Giving him shading to all the little not cracks, but creases in the skin where you would normally have shading. Now, along with the animatic stylization of Hermes that I saw, I also went into the Greek sculptures of Hermes in mythology and kind of took inspiration from that, but I had an idea of how I wanted his body shape to look and an idea of how I wanted his wings to be. I know not a lot of renditions of him have gold wings, and I wanted to have that because I thought it would make his outfit kind of stand out more, because during this time the outfits weren't very complicated. I know there were a lot of togas. I don't know a lot about history, so I tried my best. I also gave him a waxy shine and finish because his wings reminded me of Icarus, that one guy with the wax wings that flew too close to the sun. And here I'm adding the coat that the voice actor wears in the skits that he does because I find it so funny and he's so sassy and iconic. I felt like it was necessary to add. And because I have zero sense of consistency when it comes to my digital drawings, I decided that I wanted to change the black outline to something that would fit together and not clash with the colors so much. I did keep the black outline with the golden wings on his helmet and feet though, because I went over with it with gold anyway, so it didn't really matter. All I had to do was just make them more sparkly. By now, I was just touching up little details and areas I didn't like and finishing up the outline so that I could prepare for the background, because everybody loves a background. I had no idea what to do. I never have an idea for a background. I'm not creative in that way. Honestly, when I started this, I didn't even think I was going to have a background and forgot that I can't just have my drawings floating in space.
Hermes?
On to Calypso, because I love Calypso and she's amazing, and I really wish she had more than 2 songs because her voice actor is so skilled and I can't help but just belt out singing along to all of her parts. After my first listen of Epic the Musical, she was the one that stood out to me the most, and I went on to draw fan art of her in my sketchbook. So anyway, I remade her with a new design on a fresh page and decided that I liked the pose, so I stuck with that and traced over her body. I don't really know how to do see-through fabrics though, so I went in with a lowered opacity and prayed that it would work. I wanted to add a lot of the things that I put in her original design into the new design, like the tooth gap, but I also put in a bunch of new things, like a few strands of braids, and the way that her clothing drapes over her, especially the clear shawl that I really struggled with. Now, I don't know Calypso's story in Greek mythology, but in the musical, I could not help but feel bad for her because she did not deserve this. Why was she just cast away when she was like this tiny little kid, not knowing anything about the world? And then the first time that she meets another human being, or being like her, I guess she's a goddess and he's a man, so just a man. But the first time that she meets another human being, she falls in love, and it can't be reciprocated because he's a good man and loyal to his wife. And then he gets taken away. Like, she's so sad. She deserved better. At some point, I decided to do a background for her after I'd finished like light cell shading and flat colors. I don't know why I chose to do a background because I don't know how palm trees looked, so I kind of just went willy-nilly and tried my best. But because here we respect efficiency, I did not want to draw all of those leaves and shading again and again, so I copy and pasted like any reasonable artist. It made it go by a lot quicker. Now, I hardly ever draw backgrounds. I think this is one of the first digital backgrounds I've ever done, and decided I've gone this far, I might as well do lighting. I've never done lighting before, so I just slapped a purple low opacity layer over top of everything and tried to highlight some areas that I thought the sun would hit. And tell me why on her face it actually looked good. I don't know what I did, but I need to figure out how to do this again because I want to get better at this. I then went on to add a bunch of shadows casted by the palm trees from the sunset and decided to completely change the sunset because I didn't like how it looked. Anyway, that's it, that's all. Thanks for watching my speed paint.